Greetings everyone, welcome. I'm Jed Schlackman. I work as a holistic counselor, an energy healer, and hypnotherapist. For today's video I'm going to show you a clip of me testing out the radio frequencies, or lack thereof, in a room where there's the energy enhancement system, the EESystem, which is an energy-based healing technology. The EESystem uses both scalar waves and light frequency patterns. So it's a combination of the scalar plus what's called photobiomodulation or light therapy. And if you go into a facility that has the EESystem, you'll see they're set up with screens on each side of the room. So you'll see a set of screens on one wall, on the opposite wall, and then on the adjacent wall. So it's like a four-sided arrangement of those video monitors. And on those video screens there are sequences of colors playing on the screen, so it's like a constant motion of patterns of multicolored light on the LED screens. So that's the light therapy part of it. And the other aspect is that each of those units coming from each direction are emitting electromagnetic fields, and as those fields interact or intersect with each other, they're generating the scalar wave effect. So it's creating a scalar field in that space, radiating out from the center of that room and extending outward a certain distance or radius. So that's the principle behind scalar waves, and there's a lot more you could research about them related to the physics of scalar energy, of how it goes beyond the normal geometry of electromagnetic waves. It's kind of on the threshold, you could say, of the spiritual dimension, and it's something that conventional physics, conventional science hasn't really discussed or addressed much, but it does go back into the pioneering physicists of the past century and the work they did with math, with physics, with electromagnetism, and seeing that there are waves beyond just the ordinary electromagnetic spectrum waves that we think about. So it's kind of like a different dimension in a sense. If you think about math, you can think about charts or graphs where they show an x-axis and a y-axis. So you could chart a wave going along an axis. But the idea of scalar is that with that same wave going along one axis, there's another axis that you're not necessarily perceiving, where another component connected to that wave is being generated. One of the earlier writers on the topic of scalar waves was Colonel Tom Bearden. He had a background in the Air Force here in the United States, and he spoke about the scalar waves in multiple contexts, partly in a military context. He theorized or publicized the idea that scalar waves were actually being used, in a sense, as a weapon. They could be used to influence the weather, to trigger earthquakes, to shoot down missiles. So there's different applications for scalar. Obviously, with something like the EESystem, it's being used to create a field and a space, an environment to promote healing, to help our body support its own healthy electrical activity, its own harmonious energetic functioning. So that's the purpose of scalar with the energy enhancement system, as well as some other healing technologies you might encounter that include scalar wave generation. So that's a little background explanation about the EESystem. In the video clip you'll see what it actually looks like, and you can also go online to websites that show that equipment. What I do is I take a meter that measures radio frequency emissions, so it's an RF detector that shows the intensity of radio frequency energies wherever you're holding the meter. And so I'm holding the meter in that room and walking around, going up to the EESystem equipment to see if there are signs of radio frequency transmissions coming from those EESystem units. Something that kind of triggered my curiosity about this is that I saw a video from people involved with the EESystem where they were testing out a competitor device, the TLS, or the light system equipment, and showing what types of emissions were coming from that, both radio frequency and electromagnetic and electrical fields associated with that particular device or technology. And they were, let's say, implying that there could be potential high levels of emissions from that other device, and comparing that to their own, making the case that their own devices, the EESystem, is a safe, healthy environment, but that you could encounter a risk from the fields generated with the TLS system. So I'm not going to say anything definitive about that. I'm just going to show you what I detected with the energy enhancement system. Essentially what I found is that there was no evidence of transmissions from the EESystem in that radio frequency range, and the acoustometer device that I use measures from 200 megahertz up to the 8 gigahertz range. So that would include Wi-Fi routers, anything that uses the 2.4 or 5 gigahertz types of frequencies, which are the common ones for devices that have wireless communication. So it seems unlikely to me that there is any of that wireless transmission coming from the EESystem. So if anyone is concerned about their exposure to Wi-Fi and those types of wireless frequencies, this is somewhat affirming, in a sense, that it's not a concern with the EESystem. Now, to add on to that discussion about the EESystem versus the TLS, there's a sort of complex history involved and some conflict and controversy surrounding those two systems or two different companies, you could say. Essentially, the EESystem was developed first. It's from Sandra Rose Michael. She's the healer slash scientist who devised that system. And so she's the one connected with the EESystem company that created the device. And later on, a man named Jason Shurka came along, found out about this, and he was an entrepreneur looking to promote and spread different kinds of healing resources and technology. So he created the Unified Center and website and all of that, which was starting to promote the EESystem and aligning with the EESystem company and the equipment they had designed. So he was influential in bringing this more to the public's attention and having a lot of people sign on essentially as franchisees, you could say, to establish these centers where people can come to experience the EESystem. Then there was a schism, and you can research more of the details, where Jason Shurka was communicating with a man who had formerly worked with it for, in a sense, I could say with or for, but kind of like a subcontractor with the EESystem people, a computer software programmer named Robert Religa. And his role in developing the original EESystem was he developed software code for the light patterns. So the sequence of moving colors and pixels, you could say, on the LED screens. He developed software for that light therapy pattern that the EESystem screens are using. So there's been a lot of legal activity in regards to who at the present time possesses the rights to that code, and related to that, who gets money from the centers, from the devices, etc. So it's a business dispute in that sense, and a copyright type dispute. The summary, as I understand it, of that part is that there was a period of time where the rights to that software were held by the EESystem company, but there was a point in time where that expired. So in theory, according to the legal argument, that right to use that coding, that light sequence, would have gone back to its creator, Robert Religa. And I don't know the status at the moment of what's been decided legally about that. There are competing claims and ongoing discussion of it. But the point I want to make is that that's not the full EESystem technology. It's just a fraction of what that system is offering. It's only the light sequence part. It has nothing to do with the scalar wave aspect of the EESystem, which I personally consider more fundamental, more significant to its benefits or healing potential. So that's part of the complexity of this. And what happened is that Jason Shurka, in cutting his ties with the EESystem people, he established what would appear as a competing business, working with Robert Werliga to present the TLS, the light system, which are devices that ostensibly only include the light therapy part. There's no claim with those that they're offering scalar energy. So that technology is now out there. And as I mentioned, the EESystem people acquired some of that TLS device technology and ran tests with a tri-field type meter, seeing what types of electrical, magnetic, and radio frequency energies were seemingly being generated from those devices. So you can search online and find the videos they created. Always be critical or skeptical in a sense of anything that you're hearing or seeing online. Practice your own discernment, you could say. So take your time to analyze and research things and form your own conclusions. I'm just going to show you the clip of what I directly observed using this acoustometer, checking the radio frequency transmissions in the room where the EESystem is present. I don't have any business relationship with either of those companies. My only connection is that I provide sound healing sessions at a facility that has the EESystem there, but I'm not in business as a proprietor or franchisee with the EESystem or any other related technology. I'm here just looking to find out what's true, to see what's actually healthy, what's beneficial for myself or other people that I might make suggestions to. So it's about the healing aspect, and I just want to learn what's beneficial, what's not, and present what appears to be true and accurate, so you can use that information to form your own conclusions and make your own decisions. This video is for educational purposes. It's not intended to provide treatment or diagnosis for anyone. It's just some information for you to consider. So now that I've made that introduction, we will proceed to watch this clip from the EESystem facility where you can see that technology and what's showing up on the radio frequency meter.